Chotuu education is a foundation, provide free education for school dropouts, especially for the children who are begging in the streets and doing labor activities. When a child goes for labor activities, we need to stop them from going there and we want them to come to the school. We try to bargain with the family and we said that, okay, we'll give you 1,000 rupees for groceries. As a return, you give your child to our learning center. So I think there's a Madhavan movie where this kind of a bargain system happens. So the only way that how we take all these challenges is see it as a challenge, not like a problem. If you see it as a challenge, it will give you the curiosity to figure out what can be the best answer for resolving the challenge.
What if your first words each morning were please for coins instead of good morning teacher? For thousands of street children, that's life. Waking before dawn, clutching metal bowls, threading through traffic for spare change, where classrooms stay locked and lessons feel impossible. Welcome to Stories Within. I'm your host Hasti, and today we are joined by Yuva, co-founder of Chotuu Education. She refused to let begging define these kids' future and turned sidewalks into actual schools. Armed with donated notebooks and handful of committed college student volunteers, Yuva's team set up open-air classrooms in bustling market lanes. The toughest battle wasn't rain or traffic. It was convincing parents that trading a few coins for few hours of study could change everything. They invited parents to sit on trial lessons, showed how even 30 minutes of reading aloud builds confidence, and adjusted class times around children's earning schedules so families never lost income. Through neighborhood meetings, door-to-door outreach and sharing early success stories, Yuva scaled from one small session to hundreds of enrolled learners, kids who now write their names and their own destiny. In this episode, Yuva will reveal the moment she realized charity needed a classroom, how she won over skeptical parents to let their children learn, the fundraising and volunteer recruitment hacks that kept the program running. Hit subscribe because Chotuu Education proves that with strategy, persistence and a community willing to rethink charity, even the roughest pavement can become a place of possibility. Let's dive in.
Very warm welcome, and I'm extremely honored to have you here with us today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Hasti, for inviting me. I'm equally honored as well. Looking forward to have a good conversation with you.
Same here, Yuva. Can you tell me what is Chotuu Education and what's your role in this organization?
Sure. Chotuu Education is a foundation which has been started in the year 2016 by me and another co-founder which goes by the name Madhavi. So we both wanted to do, or I can say provide free education for school dropouts, especially for the children who are begging in the streets and doing labor activities. And with this objective, we started this foundation, especially with a vision that to ensure all kids receive the right to education. And it has been started in Hyderabad, and it's been almost 9 years, and we are still running the program. Initially, it was only a volunteer, or I would say just an initiative. It was not even registered. And then in the year 2019, we have registered it officially as a Section 8 company. And we also transformed our foundation from a volunteer model to a teacher full-time employment kind of a model. We have currently 4 learning centers with one teacher at every learning center taking care of minimum 20 to 25 school dropouts. So as a first step, we first identify the dropouts and try to enroll them in this educational program. And we provide minimum 1 year bridging course. And once that is completed, we try to join them in the nearby school in order to ensure that there's a sustainability in the education. If they continue over there, good for them. But if there is going to be a dropout again happening, we will again take back them into our program and see what is the best that we can do to ensure the dropout doesn't happen again.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I have one question here. Like you said, about dropouts and retention rate. So what's the average retention rate that you have seen in your learning center?
Over the years, the approximate retention rate that we are seeing is between 70 to 75%. So we still see, even in our program, close to 25% of dropouts that is happening. At this point of time, we have around approximately 196 students who are getting benefited by this program. And the gap that I mentioned, like 25%, still there is a dropout that's happening. We are trying to understand what is the best that we can do, so that in the next couple of years, we sure wanted to increase this retention rate and obviously keep it as closer to 100. That's what we are hoping for. So what do we do for that? We are trying to come up with some unique programs. For example, this year, the students who have reached 16 years and they have completed the Open 10th with the support of our education, for some reasons they do not continue again and they end up doing some random job. So we wanted to see again how we can bring them back into the program. So there is this skill training project that we are planning to start with the support of some CSR funds with some company as a pilot scale, let's say with 35 to 40 students above the age of 16. We wanted to enroll them and provide the skill pertaining to plumbing and electrical activities, so that once this training is done for a period of 10 days is what we are planning. We wanted to then put them in some kind of an internship program and then see what kind of a long-lasting job is something that they can get. So it's going to be like a pilot this year. Based upon the turnout, we'll then see how we can improvise it and take it to the pivotal. And similar like this, we also wanted to do something for the women as well, so that we are hoping these kinds of activities can ensure that the dropout ratio can again move from 75 to closer to 100 dropout.
Got it. So do you partner with any local agency or local companies for collaborating with any local companies that they can take these kids and then give them an opportunity to thrive?
Currently, we are looking forward to reach out to a couple of companies and mention this particular idea. That's what even we are thinking. But at this point of time, what is finalized is something that I can let you know. So one of the trainer who has accepted to provide this training is also working in one of the biggest apartment complex here in Hyderabad in the management sector. So the person himself has mentioned about taking in minimum 5 interns at the end of this program based upon their learning capability and the interest that they show. So this is a good start is what I would say. So once these five people from this batch get into this internship program, that will automatically turn the wheels and it will make other people also to come forward and support us in this particular perspective. So the same company which is providing us the CSR funds, we are also planning to ask them also to consider the batch people as a couple of interns in their facility. So something like that, we are still having a couple of ideas. So we wanted to slowly implement it and give it a better shape.
Wow, that's amazing. You're not just providing them education, you're also providing them important life skills that they can utilize to make some money and get up and running, right? That's amazing, Yuva. You know what? Since I saw the LinkedIn post about a student of Chotuu education, I have this question in mind. Many of us have seen these kids and some of us even help them with money or food. That's all. Like most of us don't go beyond that. But you guys have gone above and beyond and done something that many of us don't even think of doing. So was there anything or any incident that motivated you to take that next step?
Yeah, definitely there is. I won't say it as a triggering factor, but I always consider that as one of the inspiring information to share. So there are obviously a lot of social imbalances that is existing. So when we definitely noticed a kid who's begging in the signal, automatically many of us, including me, I have done in the past as well to give her money. And then when we understand that that's not going to be helpful for them, then we try to think as a next step and we try to provide them as a food rather than money, so that we think that okay, the food is not going to go as a waste and they will obviously going to eat it. So that's how we think. But there are also other things that happens behind the screen where they again take the food back to the place, to the vendor and get back the money. Such kind of things I have also observed. So it indicates that, okay, giving some money or giving some kind of a food is just going to, let's say, serve the purpose just for a day. But what about the next day? What about the next day beyond that? How much is this going to benefit for that particular child on a longer term? There is no answer for that. And I strongly feel education is something that in any aspects it is going to take care of all the social imbalances. That is one of the strongest feeling I have. And the best way to ensure that is going to happen is to provide this education to the children, because it is one of their basic birthright. And if that is not going to happen because of their family situation, it should be one of our responsibility to pick it up. But we can again ask, why should we consider this as our responsibility? Again, it's again connected with a philosophical point which I just wanted to share. When our parents are able to give us three essential things, one is a place to live, and food to eat, and some clothes to wear. So when we have these three basic things, it is definitely now our responsibility to ensure that we transfer the same thing to another person who is not having any of these three things. And one best way to do is to provide education so that he or she can take care of these basic needs via this education. So that is going to be the long-lasting solution. So that's the connection I wanted to make, and till date, it's been giving me a kind of a satisfaction that what I have chosen is the right path. So I'm hoping so in the same manner. Yeah.
Oh wow, it definitely is the right path. Like, there is a proverb, right? You give them a fish, they know they'll eat it. But you teach them how to catch a fish that's gonna be with them lifelong, right? You're giving them the basic need, which is education, that's not only gonna help them, but their families, right? Eventually the goal is they'll be able to take care of the family, the society, and everybody within their limits. So that's really inspiring, and I'm very glad that you found another person, right, who shared the same thought as you, and you're able to form a small community like of with like-minded people and get this thing going, right? Because I know it all takes a lot of effort from each one of you to have this up and running. So it's not an easy task. That education is going to help a kid, so I'm going to give the kid the education. So that's your vision. To bring it to life, it must have taken a lot of courage. So what instilled this confidence in you that, you know what, I can do it. I can help these kids. So what instilled that confidence in you?
I think the past during NGO experiences that I have could be one of the confidence providing factor. I would say that. So when I was living in Chennai, I was trying to volunteer in a handful of NGOs. So one is Tumi, that's where you and I met as well. Then there's also this Blue Cross where I was volunteering for some time for the street dogs and doing some rescue activities. And I was also on and off volunteering for another NGO which was supporting special kids. The only purpose for me back then was to just keep myself occupied in weekends. But then these activities started to give me a new perspective of life, started to give me a different exposure, I would say. And I entered into this whole new domain where, for example, in Bhumi, I also had the platform where I can step up and take additional responsibilities within the organization. So that in turn helped me to understand how NGO functions from scratch, how an NGO can be built, and how a team can be formed, and how we can, even if we work in one city, how we can still transfer or maybe spread these activities for multiple cities as well and still do the coordinations. All those informations and experiences I was able to get it from that NGO. So that I would definitely say gave me a good confidence and courage. Meaning anything can be started by any person. So that's how I felt it. So when I came to Hyderabad and when I noticed this incident of kids begging near the streets, not that it didn't happen in Chennai, but when I was noticing in Hyderabad, I was thinking, okay, I've already done something for education under Bhumi. Why don't I try to reciprocate the same here for these students? But before doing it, I just wanted to understand, I don't want to start something which is already existing and have something in parallelly, two different NGOs doing the same cost. So I started to go into the ground and figure out how many educational NGOs are available. and started to come up with a proper structure, like what had to be done. So past NGO experiences definitely gave me a clarity on how to proceed in the things.
That is really inspiring, Yuva, right? Like having a vision and having built an entire structure from the scratch, it's really, really inspiring. And I definitely resonate with your thought. Like when we work for these NGOs, right, that gives us a different perspective of life, giving us, just showing us how fortunate we are, right? So that's giving that vision for us, and then to see how can we give back to the community, how can we help others. So I'm glad you got that confidence from the previous NGO experiences. You said like you started this from scratch, and then you had to figure out or understand your ground and all that, right? So you must have faced a lot of challenges from the NGO that you had worked before.
There are similarities and there are differences, that is for sure, because although it is the education which it has been picked up, I have volunteered with an NGO like Bhumi, which also works for education. The beneficiaries are totally different, because in Bhumi, for example, the beneficiaries are already available in a constant locality. So it's a shelter home. We don't say orphanage, we say it as a shelter home, right? So there, the students are already available, and all that particular NGO has to do is to identify volunteers and map to that particular place, so that over the weekends classes has to happen. That is what it is. But wherein here in this case, first step, we need to identify the dropouts. We need to identify a locality where handful of students who are supposed to go to school are not going, and we need to see how we can establish the learning center over there. So that itself is a whole new version which has its plenty of challenges, because there won't be proper place where we can start something from scratch. And when we need to start the classes, we need to, first of all, they go for begging, right, and they get money out of it. So we are trying to stop them from doing it, for which the parents are not going to be very happy to hear that. So we need to find an option to see how they still come to the education program and they still satisfy the parents also. But then over a longer period of time, slowly stop the beginning. So that kind of a model is something that we have to adapt. And this is something that we never knew from the past as well. So as and when we were like progressing, what kind of challenges come made us to sit and brainstorm like what could be the best options that we can explore. And not one solution is going to be standard for all the different learning centers that we have right now. So every place, problem could be the same, but the way we handle has to be different. One option cannot be reciprocated easily in another place, so that's the other thing. So the only way that how we take all these challenges is see it as a challenge, not like a problem. Because when you see it as a problem, your mind will have hurdles to find an option to resolve it. But if you see it as a challenge, it will give you the curiosity to figure out what can be the best answer for resolving the challenge. So that is something that I keep often saying to our teachers. Don't say it is a problem, always say it is a challenge. That itself will change your perspective towards how you look at it and how you resolve it. So yeah, and to say some couple of challenges, some interesting challenges is when a child goes for labor activities, we need to stop them from going there and we want them to come to the school. We didn't know what to do, but there were this movies which gave us some kind of crazy ideas. So what we did was we tried to bargain with the family, and we said that okay, we'll give you 1,000 rupees for groceries every month. So as a return, you give your child to our learning center, and we will have the attendance. So I think there's a Madhavan movie where this kind of a bargain system happens. Some weightlifting movie, I don't remember the name.
Is it Irudai Chotuu or something?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, something that, yes. So he'll give the money so that the girl who's really skilled in this weightlifting, she comes for the classes. So that is one idea that we also tried, and yeah, it worked. But obviously, we need good amount of fund in order to make it sustain and happen. So there is a challenge. So we try to see that where the most need is, what kind of students really require this kind of aspect. Then for that particular student, we decide to get some additional donors support, and we try to provide the monthly groceries. And even now in this program, close to 10 students on a regular basis, we are providing this grocery support so that they come to the class. So it is still happening. So that's one thing which I really wanted to share at this point of time. Yeah.
That's actually nice that you have drawn your inspirations from everywhere that you can see, even from a movie, right? Like drawing an inspiration and then applying it in your own scenario.
Today's artist spotlight is Veda Srinivas. She began drawing at the age of 4 and channels her sensitive, analytical spirit into nature-inspired art. She has found true freedom of expression through art, creating works that captures her deep inner reflections and unique perspective on the world. A talented musician on piano, flute, and cello, who also enjoys swimming and fencing, she blends introspection and imagination in her artwork. Her imaginative piece, blending a swirling Van Gogh-like sky with a vivid, thoughtful eye, captures her belief in seeing and feeling the world with both the heart and the mind. Rooted in family and fueled by empathy, Veda dreams of becoming a child psychiatrist so she can help others understand their minds just as her art helps her see the world with both heart and thought. It's our honor to feature Veda Srinivas in this episode of Stories Within.